Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today you see me playing a vehicle which was an absolute curse for me when I first got it back in 2011-2012. It is the Tier 9 German medium tank, the well-armoured one, the E50. Now when I first played this tank, I played it completely stock. Didn't have the engine, didn't have the tracks, didn't have that glorious top 105mm gun that I've now got on this vehicle, and importantly the 88mm, i.e. the good one, wasn't even in the game back then, all of those years ago. Also, this was, I believe, the first high tier medium tank that I played, and I didn't have an absolute clue what I was doing. I think I played it a bit like the E75, which was my first tier 9 tank, and kind of expected that it was going to work. When you put all of that together, probably a 75% crew, with a completely stock vehicle, with it being the first time you've played a high-tier medium tank in World of Tanks, yeah, it didn't really go too well. And I think I got my longest and most frustrating loss streak in World of Tanks history. I think I lost about 13 games in a row in this vehicle. Every single loss felt even more painful. I got probably shouting rage when I was having the streak in this tank. You know when you feel like you're just playing a vehicle to be able to get your daily win, and you just feel like nothing's going your way. And it doesn't really look like too much has changed here with the way these shells are going against these Char Few Tier 4. We've missed 3 shots in a row, where we've got pretty much the entirety of his turret. 4 shots in a row. It feels like this is what happens sometimes in your games where you just can't get a win, right? 5 shots in a row. Okay, Mr. Char Few Tier 4, I think this player needs to buy a lottery ticket. It's not like I'm sniping at a very small area of his tank here. Finally! 6th one's the charm. Unfortunately for me, nearly 10 years ago, it went on for 13 losses. I have to admit though, my impact in each of the games, I might as well have probably been a bot. I think I was so angry, so frustrated, my vehicle was so stocked with a stock crew that I just couldn't really have any amount of an impact to be able to start to get the kind of win ratios that I'm aiming for now, which is at least 60% over a session. Preferably I'll be looking to try and hit 65. And it's bizarre to think that if I'm having a good night, things are kind of going my way, but also that I'm playing good, that you're going to be winning twice as much as you lose. If I could have told that to QuickyBaby back in the day in 2011, 2012, when he was playing this vehicle and probably developing a seething hatred for some of the more heavily armored German medium tanks, they would last a good few years until I really figured out that they can be quite fun to play in the right scenarios. Yeah, I think he probably would have been quite surprised. So the E50, a vehicle that I thoroughly recommend you don't sell. Because the tier 10 tank, I'll probably feature it in a video tomorrow, seeing how it's top of the tree as well. It's just a little bit disappointing at tier 10 compared to the tier 9. And I feel like tier 9, the matchmaker is just so much more fun. Of course, you'd rather be a tier 9 tank with kind of not entire tier 10 capabilities, but some tier 10 capabilities with the opportunity to even get matchmaking against tier 7 rather than having to deal with tier 10. There are quite a few vehicles inside the game which don't really feel as if they step up enough when you reach that tier 10 milestone, and I'd say the E50M is probably one of those. But let's focus on the tier 9 today. Let's focus on what makes the tier 9, the E50, absolutely phenomenal. Has to be its good frontal armor. They've recently buffed it so it's got 215mm on the turret, meaning that if you're using your gun depression, which is 8 degrees on this vehicle, your turret armor is pretty good, and the only thing that's going to go through you are probably premium rounds, especially high explosive anti-tank rounds that can even go through the cheeks of this vehicle, because even though it looks incredibly well angled, yeah, heat rounds can go through up to 85 degrees of angled armor, making them extremely good at very well angled armored surfaces where the armor is not too thick. Is that the same Char Few Tier 4? No, it's not. It's a different Char Few Tier 4 that we managed to finally finish off, and we're looking pretty good right now. I love this position that I am using. This position has been giving me so many good games recently on the Stajanki map. Going into the dip is one thing. If I've got good gun depression, I can go and work the ridgeline over towards here. However, if I'm kind of caught out and I feel like the enemies maybe have an advantage in the dip, by just hanging around here, and even if they go down below you in the dip, quite often enemies are going to do stupid things like try and come up and expose themselves to all of the vehicles that like to hang around here, and all of the vehicles that like to hang around there as well. This is one of the strongest positions that I've been able to find recently, because, I mean, you're covered from like most of the angles, right? Every time that you take a well-armored vehicle like the E50, you can put into a position where you're getting to cover the weak side armor and the rear armor of the vehicle, you're going to do very well. You can use that position as well in heavy tanks if you're able to sneak there in your faster heavies, and to have this bush location here to be able to push out of as well. Yeah, it definitely has been one of my favorite positions on this map. Of course, it doesn't provide you with any vision down the south, so if you do have gun depression, there isn't too many artillery still using that position, and gunning across for there can be a lot more advantageous for your team. And we see that everything that makes the E50 great. Accuracy, although, yeah, we wouldn't have said that from the first 5 shots this game, right? Decent penetration, especially on the premium rounds with 2,270. Oh, wow, I wish I had 2,000. No, I really don't. Everybody would be playing this then. 270 millimeters of penetration, but awesome shell velocity at 1,500. Definitely makes this thing feel like a decent sniper when combined with the 0.3 base accuracy that the vehicle has. So we've now managed to win the southern flank, and now we get to have fun with all of the heavy tanks. We shut down the Conqueror, we're looking for a shot into the IS-32. But instead, we're going to finish off their counterpart in the AE Phase 1, picking up our 4th kill of the game and 4,000 damage. And I don't usually say this, but not even a scratch so far. All 1,750 hit points. Oh, that feels good, especially when you do have 6,000 hit points left on the enemy team to be able to deal with. We put another shot into the AE Phase 1, bit of a waste of a gold round here. We probably could have fired standard rounds there, but the artillery stuns the AE Phase 1, locking them in place, and right now I'm just getting greedy. I'm going to take my chances with my hit points. I go up on the ridge, we bounce one shell from the T-54E1, it penetrates my lower plate, and immediately the AMX-1390 puts a gold round into the side of our vehicle, but it doesn't actually manage to penetrate, and this is where the E50 just feels so awesome. Even gold rounds from the light tank, I'm not too worried about them. We're going to be plowing through. It looks like we destroy a little bit of the rubble inside the cap circle, and the standard B rolls exceptionally high, getting an ammo rack for 500 damage, which I looked at him and I have to admit I was a little bit frustrated. I smelled blood in the water. I thought Top Gun all the way, baby. And the AMX-1390 was like, no, Mr. QB, you're not going to get a Top Gun, not on my watch, so I'm just going to drive around the corner into this auto-loading Italian medium tank. Curses, I say. But there's still 2 opportunities to be able to get the 6th kill this game. And I just realized at this point, ooh, this game is actually a little bit close. We have an artillery advantage, we have a T-54E1 and a couple of autoloaders, and by losing those hit points to the IS-32, who we can clearly see is now using the 100mm caliber gun, for a second there, it looked like this is quite worrying. If the T-54E1 was reloaded and put some pressure up on us around this corner, we would have to be careful. Now we've locked his tracks down, and this is where the E50 is just so beautiful. Being able to side scrape out around a corner like a heavy tank. I'm actually more dangerous than the heavy tank, although that did used to be a medium tank, albeit about half a year ago. And when I got that second tracking shot, I just felt so good. Even with a knackered engine, I should be absolutely golden. I managed to put another round through the tracks, also managing to put some more hit points off the T-54E1, and while that player may be called the Russians will tear, this isn't a Russian tank tearing this game up. I'm going to repair my tracks, leaving my engine damaged, and am I going to heal my radio operator at the end? I am, just for a little bit of sass, and there we go. Maybe there was a player called the Russians will tear on the enemy team, but this was definitely the German blitzkrieg to be able to get through the enemy team down the southern flank, getting then the flanking position on the center, and this is why you should not sell the E50 at tier 9. This thing, with all the buffs that the vehicle received to the turret armor, just feels absolutely sweet. So unsurprisingly, an ace tanker here for the E50 for 1,667 base experience. We get near 7,000 damage with the 7 kills that we managed to smash. But I have to admit, I was an absolute gold noob in this game. Spent 82,000 credits on ammunition and actually lost credits even with a premium account. Shame on you. And while free-to-play QuickyBaby from about 2011-2012 would have probably felt the same way with the amount of gold rounds I fired in this game, I still think that I would have probably been flabbergasted to think that one day I would actually kind of enjoy this vehicle, especially during that 13-game loss streak. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know in the comments what you think about the E50, especially with its buffs. Do you think it's the kind of tank that just does well until the enemies start slamming gold at you? Or do you think that it's good enough now to be an enjoyable tank? Or is it one of your favorites? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.